So, we are continuing today with The Lazarus Blueprint by Richard and Mary Alice Jaffola. I want to go over with you just the first steps that we looked at. As, we are talking about the raising of Lazarus from John 11, 1 through 43. And the first step was to turn away, that when a challenge presents itself, or even a new idea, that we're getting ready to move into something, instead of full focus on that, it's a good idea to turn away, to move your attention away from it for a while. And of course, part of that experience was taking some time apart, going into silence, going into meditation, for only the reason of just being in that silence, not because you're purposing anything, but rather that's our time of just opening up and allowing this beautiful intelligence to reveal itself in us, and it always will. The second step was that we roll away the stone, and the rolling away the stone had to do with what is it that is standing in the way of us being living the life that we truly desire to live, or being the person that we really want to be. And what I loved about this step was that Jaffola made it very clear it was never going to be another person, a situation. It was not, quote unquote, going to be something outside of you, although that may be the first step for us to begin looking at it. We may think it's that because I don't have enough education, or this person did this to me, that's why, or I have an illness. But they really encourage you to go deeper in that, into, well, what is it that's going on in your mind and heart? Because that's really where the block is. And I also love in this step to remember that we're never doing it alone. That it didn't take one person to roll that stone away. It took working together to roll that stone away. So, please don't feel like you have to be out there trying to do this by yourself. The third step is great expectations. And last week we had fun talking about creating greater expectations in our life, and I shared with you the book What If Everything Goes All Right by Mindy Audlin. And so last week we were working on what if upping. What if, instead of downing, going to a negative place, what if? What if my body got better? What if this was the beginning of something really wonderful? What if the right and perfect job showed up for me? What if I was loving what I did in my life? And even in just saying those few things, we can already feel how that's starting to expand us. And that's where we want to get. We want to get to a place where we open up our energy. So today, what we're going to talk about is upfront thanks. And this is now, Jesus is still standing in front of the tomb, and he says as he looks upward, Father, I thank you for having heard me. I know that you always hear me. And so clearly what this is about is upfront gratitude. Now I love that the Jaffola say in their book, giving thanks for what? What's he giving thanks for? Because nothing has happened yet. So what is he giving thanks for? And then they go on to say he's giving thanks, he's in gratitude for knowing that the right thing will happen. And that is such an important part of our journey, is gratitude in advance for knowing the right thing will happen. Now let's remember here, the right thing doesn't always look like the image that we hold in our mind. We may think the right thing is this particular job or this particular person. And that's where we have to open up. That's why we get to the experience of what it is that we really desire. We focus our expectation on joy and peace and love and freedom and things like that. Having a job that you absolutely love with more than enough, money coming in and being appreciated and you giving. And so we don't necessarily, you may start with a specific, but I really encourage you to go beyond the specific, because the right thing most of the time will be different than what you thought the right thing was. So this is sincere gratitude in advance. Now, I really sat for a few minutes with this concept of sincere gratitude because I thought, well, isn't it always sincere gratitude? And then as I read in the book, what they were saying was, we have courteous gratitude. We have gratitude when we, say thank you to somebody who lets us in line, and that can still be sincere, or somebody, buys us a cup of coffee, and we say thank you, and that's a courteous response. But what I really got to with them was that the gratitude that they're talking about, the sincere gratitude that they're talking about, is a gratitude that is filled with emotion. They said it would have a visceral reaction. So I looked up visceral, because I've heard that word forever, and I'm like, what? I kind of knew what it meant, but it really is it's that intuitive big feeling. You feel it so deep inside of you. So we want to get to that place where, and here's where they go with it, where you feel it. You know, we've got to get to that feeling place. We need the feeling, and what they call the inner fullness of a grateful heart. The inner fullness of a grateful heart, in order for us to tap that power within us. And I love what they say too, that strong emotions will overpower an intellectual idea virtually every time. And I thought about that, and I just thought about, different things in my life, and I thought, that's really true. Strong emotions. I mean, and this can work in a positive and a negative way, can't it? I mean, where I'll tell you exactly where, because I experienced it last night with my grandson, who's 7 years old, and he was going to come and spend the night with us last night, and we had gone downtown to something, and he did something. His mom was with us, and he did something that was not acceptable for him to do. And I'm so proud of her, because she is able to stay in her intellectual mind and say, you can't go over there now. But my emotions, so he starts sobbing and crying, and my emotions just want to go, it's okay, you can go, it's okay, But I didn't, because I totally respect and honor that. But I saw in that moment how his strong emotions that connected with mine were totally ready to overpower the intellectual idea that really was for his benefit. And so he didn't spend the night last night, and I had to work with my little grandma heart for a while, but I did. That was hard, but it was so good. But it works in all ways. We can use the power of our feelings and our emotions to move us to a place of a fullness, a true fullness of heart. They go on to say that feelings are what activate the powers that make the changes and do the work, that feelings are the catalyst to start something. And of course we know that. Feelings are the fuel that keep us going. An example that they use is if we were just sitting here right now, if you wanted to get up and go get a cup of coffee, you wouldn't do that unless you felt that you wanted to go and do that. You can intellectually have the concept in your mind, but the feeling is what is actually the agent behind it that makes you move. So the feeling is the change agent, and only you have control over your feelings. Did you know that? You hurt my feelings. I mean, I'm not saying that people don't say things that are inappropriate or do things inappropriately, but who's in control of your feelings? You are. We are in control of our feelings. So, what today is about is igniting the feeling of Thanksgiving in ourselves. And doing this from the perspective, of course, we're moving into Thanksgiving, which is fantastic, but really working from the perspective of giving gratitude in advance. And I'll tell you, this takes some effort, because we are looking at something from our imagination that hasn't happened yet, and we are giving full out thanks that it's already done. But that is truly how it works. When I love Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, said that gratitude may be likened to rain falling upon ready soil, refreshing it and increasing its productiveness. It was one of my favorite when it came to gratitude, because I could conceptualize it from the perspective and I've talked about this before, using Miracle-Gro. Miracle-Gro, anybody use Miracle-Gro on their plants? And what happens? Yeah. they grow faster, they grow more abundantly, they grow bigger. And so I loved it because when he said that it's likened to rain falling up on ready soil, the ready soil is our consciousness. It's the vision, it's the great expectation that we have already been working on the last couple weeks, and then refreshing it and increasing its productiveness. It is like the miracle grow of our desires, and it's really that powerful. Now, I love also that the late Reverend Eric Butterworth, in his book Spiritual Economics, which is a fantastic book, reminds us that gratitude is a causative energy, meaning, again, that we tend to look as gratitude as something that we do after we receive a blessing, but that instead of it always being in effect, that it is actually a causative energy. So what he's saying here is that gratitude in and of itself is what causes our experience of good to expand and increase, that gratitude is literally the cause. And I love how he took the scripture in 2 Thessalonians, when Paul says, in all things give thanks. And he said it got a little twisted many hundreds of years ago when the religionists at that time taught that it said, for all things give thanks. And his example was that someone would have an old ratty pair of jeans with patches on them, and they would give thanks for that ratty old pair of jeans with the patch on it, and that's where they would stop. Now, mainly, he said, and this just cracked me up, but I think it's absolutely true, because the old-time religion taught that it was a good thing to live in poverty, to sacrifice, to suffer, because the reward was coming in the great hereafter. The reward was in heaven. But what he said is that that did major damage to millions of Christians throughout the course of time because it served to keep us small. He said what Paul did say was, in all things give thanks. When we are in the midst of a joy, when we are in the midst of a problem, a challenge, what is important for us to do is to step back in our consciousness and to be in the awareness of the ever-presence of God, to be in the awareness of the ever-present substance in which we live and move and have our being in. Now, the difference is that instead of saying, I am so grateful from a consciousness of not feeling worthy and feeling like you can't have in your life this ratty old pair of jeans with a patch on, and stopping there, then we would move it to, and I am so grateful for this beautiful universal intelligence that is within me, the substance that I live and move and have my being in, for all of the good that is coming to me now, that is blessing my life and the life of those around me. So can you feel that difference? We're moving it to a larger aspect of what gratitude is. If you're in a relationship challenge, you wouldn't just say, thank you, God, for this really horrible relationship. So grateful just to have one. Thank you. It must be my journey in life to have to, No. Okay, thank you for what this relationship has been teaching me. Thank you that I have grown through this relationship, and I am so grateful for the love that I know is here for me at this moment, for the love that I have for myself and the love that I am attracting to myself, for the beautiful dance of a relationship. So we're going now back to what? Last week to what if upping. We're moving out of the what is, perhaps, and we're moving in to the what if, and we're saying thank you in advance. Thank you in advance. We're giving our gratitude in advance. And I love it because what Paul was expressing there was he was expressing the importance of a grateful heart. And I really thought about this last night too, as I thought, think about times in your life when you have said to somebody, my heart is filled with such gratitude. Think about those words from my heart is filled with such gratitude. Because in those moments, I feel it. Like I can tap into those times when my heart has been filled with so much gratitude for a blessing in my life, for something somebody's done for me. Just maybe sometimes when you're out in nature and you're just all of a sudden have that overwhelming sense of like, oh my gosh, I'm so blessed, I'm so grateful. And so it's really moving to that place where we feel it that intensely. And what he says is that it's not simply an expression of gratitude. 4 things, but a heart that is grateful, a heart that is continuously filled with gratitude, a heart that recognizes the blessings, and to live in a state of gratitude. This is the movement for us today, is moving to where we are feeling it. And my friends, we're going to have to go back to next week and use that. We're going to have to go back to what if upping. Because if we don't have that, we're probably not going to be able to move into that strong feeling state. We've got to get our thinking and our feelings together. But if our thinking is stuck in what is, and we're trying to move this gratefulness into our heart for what we desire, we got to have in our minds what we desire. I desire a greater experience of prosperity. I desire loving relationships in my life. I desire to get up in the morning and feel great and bound out of bed. I desire to love what I do in my life. I desire for avenues to open up that will just sing to my heart and to my soul. You know, so it's really, that's what I love about a series, is that we're using all the components as we go along. Now, something I wanted to share with you that I loved, I kind of love most things that I get to read, but I really love this from their book, because this has so much to do with our body. And this is going to be a little bit of quantum physics, but I love science and spirituality. What they said is the cells of your body are more likely to respond and regenerate when they know that you love and appreciate them. If you want more wholeness in your physical body, praise the evidence of life and health that you already have, because the intelligence within your cells will be encouraged to create even greater wholeness and well-being. Now think about this for a minute, because it may seem, whoa, out there, but think about when you have praised somebody or somebody has praised you, how does it make you feel? You know, it increases the good energy in you, doesn't it? And our cells are living. It's living, moving energy. From a quantum physics perspective, here's the cool thing, and this is not only for our bodies, this is for life in general. When we look at our life through a scientific lens, we see that in a material sense, our body is a highly functioning community of about 60 trillion living cells. If we look closer at those cells, we see that they're actually made up of atoms. Those atoms, if we look closely, are made up of subatomic particles. And those subatomic particles can express in 2 ways. One is as a particle or matter, and the other is as a wave or potentiality. That means that everything in the universe, including your body, at this very moment, I love how it says this, is a delicious dance of what is particle and what could be wave. Now here's the really cool part. The fascinating thing that we've determined through quantum physics is that the determining factor between whether these subatomic particles express as a particle, matter, or a wave is focus. That when focus is directed, we see particles or matter, and then when the focus is removed, we see a wave of pure potentiality. So think about that. Everything in our universe, in our bodies, is responding to what? Our focus. Yes, and our focus is our thought and our feelings. It's the dominant vibration that we are releasing. It's the dominant part of the energy, and our thoughts are only going to have so much energy. When you marry those thoughts with an emotion, whoosh, the energy is just exponentially multiplied. Now I want to remind you, Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, praised her body back into health. Diagnosed with tuberculosis, given 6 months to live, and she ran across E.B. Weeks, I'm a child of God, I do not inherit sickness, and she began to ask her body for forgiveness, and she spent time every day praising, giving thanks for her body. She went to every place in her body and praised it and gave thanks for it. Let me ask you something. When's the last time that you actually thought something nice about your body? Really? Just thought a nice thing about it. You know, and it's so important just in general, because we live in a world in which, boy, if we don't look a certain way, and nobody looks that certain way, then we find all the reasons that we don't like our bodies. And yet, if you sat down and read about your body and read how miraculous, amazing it is, like you would be bowing at everybody's feet, oh my gosh, you're amazing, you're miraculous, you're wonderful, And we need to start doing that to ourselves, to really appreciating and loving our bodies. And then we move that to appreciating and loving our bank accounts, or maybe we don't have a bank account. Maybe we don't have much in our bank account. We love what the few dollars that we do have, or the home that we live in. We move to loving aspects of the relationships that we do have. But then we start what if upping. I love that a friend of mine shared a gratitude that this person created for themselves, and I asked, can I don't have to use your name, but can I share the gratitude? And this is what it is. I am so grateful and so thankful for all of the amazingly good things and the incredible financial abundance that's coming to me now, though I can't see them. And I love that, because the moment that this person shared this with me, I could just see that there was like a right into it. And this was believable for them, that, I am grateful for all of the amazingly good things. Even though I can't see them right now, I know that they are coming to me. And so it's important to begin to create things like this, so that make you feel good. Now, I love the song that we sang to start today was Faith It Till You Make It. And one of the things that the Jafolas talk about is fake it till you make it. But we really like to think of it more as act as if, or faith it till you make it. And again, this is where we're jump starting it. That even if you can move yourself just this much, that's getting you closer to where you actually want to be. And some of the things I would say to do, if you desire a loving relationship, start looking around for evidence of that's around you. Start looking and finding people who have really great relationships. You may want to talk to them about, what works in your relationship. If you want more abundance in your life, start reading about people who have created abundance in their life, or talk to some people maybe that you see that you think are financially prosperous, and just, ask them about their life and maybe what they did. But to really start putting yourself there. I know one of the things that I used to do was I used to go to open houses just to go in and feel what it would feel like to have a house that I really wanted, or I would go and sit in a nice car, so I could get a feeling for that, or I'd go into a store and think, well, what would I buy, when I was trying to increase my prosperity consciousness. But every time I did that, I felt better. I felt a hope, a possibility. So the idea is here we start when a jump starting, act as if I had $500 today, what would I do with it? And start acting as if. If I was a successful, a well-known documentary maker, what would that feel like? What would I be doing out there? By the way, Patrick has a documentary showing at the Moxie tomorrow night from 7 to 9, Kenya Until Hope is Found. So, yay! Yes. And then the last thing that I want to share with you is that they also said that when Jesus, remember, he looked upward. And I love that, because it's really something to tap into. He didn't look at the problem while he was giving thanks. He looked upward. He raised his consciousness to this greater realm that said, I don't know how this can be done, but you know what? I don't have to. I am just grateful because this divine intelligence knows. And that's what I can keep my faith in. That's what I can stand on solidly. So we are going to just close with our affirmation. So if you will join with me together. My heart overflows with gratitude for the life force at work in my body and in my soul. I center my thoughts on the positive changes taking place right now And I am at peace, and you are at peace. And I really, really hope and pray that when you leave this place and you go out into your week, that you're really, really putting this stuff to work in your lives, because it will change your experience. But we have to be the ones to do the work. Fifth basic principle of unity: truth. We must act on the truth that we know. So we must take action on it. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm very, very grateful for Unity of Springfield, for each and every one of you, and namaste.